His, oh, his letters and cards always pleaded with me, come to Berlin, Sheila. Come to Berlin. You'd love it there. There's a beer garden on every corner. That was the repetitive chant of my little brother, Kevin. He was stationed in the Air Force in Berlin, Germany. It was the 80s. And that was before the wall came down. And I kept sending him those little, back in the day, we had little cassette tapes. So I'd send him a cassette tape with Leah as a baby going, woo, 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 and Anthony singing him his nursery school songs. I'd say, now, Kevin, now do you understand why I can't come to Berlin? Jump on a plane from Arizona. I'm a little busy. He'd say, okay, Sheila, but. And back then we didn't have WhatsApp or anything, no technology. It was very expensive to call, so we just traded letters and cassettes. A couple years later, Kevin said, you know what, Sheila, I got to get out of the service now. I want to go to college. But guess what? Mom and Dad really want me to move back. 6 kids in our family. I was the youngest. They want me to move back and go to college. So that's what he did. Kevin started college, and things were going very well. He even got along fine with my dad, who could be tough at times. And things were going very well for him until I got the call, until they weren't. I got a call at 3 a.m. Sheila, you got to get to Buffalo right away. I'm like, who is this? When you get a call in the middle of the night, first of all, it was all home phones then. Startled us, and I said, what? What do you mean? My brother Eddie said, it's Kevin. What do you mean it's Kevin? Mom and Dad are a mess. Kevin died. What do you mean Kevin died? He's my baby brother. Just get here, Sheila. That time was a blur. When you get a call like that, you're kind of going through the motions. I arrived in Buffalo thinking this is some kind of a sick joke. But it wasn't. And it didn't hit me till I saw his name up in the funeral home up there. But Kevin was showing me signs. He was very spiritual, unlike his sister. He was very spiritual, and he kept a Bible by his bed. And I felt drawn at his funeral mass to speak. My sisters are like, how could you do that? Oh my. I said, I don't know. I feel like Kevin's with me. I feel like I have a sign from Kevin. He's with me. And he wants me to read this passage. And I read it, very confident. Everybody else is crying. My family's crying. And I was able to read it. I felt his presence with me. Fast forward, and that whole time, honestly, was soul crushing. But I felt good that he was with me, and I did what he wanted me to do. Fast forward to 2006. I wanted my dream job. I wanted to teach in Western Europe. I didn't want to teach some cockamamie place. I wanted to teach in Western Europe. So I decided I'm going to go for it. Really wanted. And I found a school on the internet, the John F. Kennedy School. The internet was up then. And I thought, that's where I want to teach. But I thought to myself, you better be more realistic than that. The odds of that are very slim. But Kevin wants me there, I'm thinking. Anyway, the way it worked back then, you had to go in person to a job fair. So I traveled to Cedar Falls, Iowa in the middle of February to interview for different countries. And how it worked was different administrators would look through your file. It was an old-fashioned file. They'd look through your file, and then they would invite you to interview with them. So I got so excited. I went down to look at my file. I had offers from France. I had Spain, Marshall Islands. I didn't even know where the Marshall Islands were. Japan, China. Turkey, but no Germany. My heart, I was crestfallen. This really where I wanted to be. But then, strangely enough, I got a phone call in my right before, about 2 hours before we were supposed to start interviewing. I got a phone call to my hotel room, and the man said, "Hi, this is Stephen Smith. Is this Sheila Smith?" I said, "Yes, it is." And he said, This is the John F. Kennedy School calling from Berlin, Germany." He said, "We'd like to interview you early." I said, "Early?" He said, "Yes, I know at 1 o'clock. Everything starts at 1 o'clock, but can you come at 12? I said, "Oh, okay." I was like dumbfounded. And this is another strange thing they used to do back then. You had to go into their hotel room and sit on a bed to interview. I thought this is so I sat there, and Stephen asked me all these questions about teaching reading, because I was a reading specialist at the time. And he said, "Well," and I was kind of intimidated because there were so many questions, but I handled it okay. And then he said, "Would you step out of the room for a few minutes?" I said, "Okay." So I stepped out of the room, saying, "This is really what I want. But come on back." Called me back in. He said, "Well, you know what, Sheila? Maybe it's the Smith name, but you know more about teaching reading than anybody else I'm going to interview. So the job is yours. You want it?" I said, "Well, I have all these interviews with all these different countries. I already made appointments for the weekend." He said, "Well, here's my card. Let us know. I'm not going to take anyone else seriously until I hear back from you." So I went, "Okay." And I went down the elevator into the lobby, and I thought, Kevin's like, "What? Are you crazy? You need to take that job." So I called right away. I called the room, and I mean, within a few minutes, I called the room, and Stephen answered, and he said, "Is this Sheila already?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, it is." And I said, "I'll take the job." He goes, "Great. We'll meet you at happy hour. You'll have your first adventure. We'll talk about your first adventure in Germany." Kevin, thank you, I'm thinking. And it didn't stop there. Once I moved to Germany, I got drawn to this certain apartment. I don't know why, but I had one that was already picked out for me. Nope, I don't want that one. I went to another one, and guess what I found out? It was 2 blocks away from where my brother had been stationed in the Air Force. But Kevin was with me again. Fellow Toastmasters, your departed loved ones send you signs of all kinds. Pay attention to them. They can give you comfort, and they can change the course of your life. Thank you.